Hello my dear students, welcome to computer science class. In our previous video class we have discussed some of the built-in string functions and we have also seen the related programs. In this class let us continue the discussion of few more programs related to the string functions. Let us begin. Now here is a program to concatenate the two strings without using the library function. What is this concatenate? Concatenate is nothing but it is the process of combining the two strings in order to form a single string. This process we actually call it as concatenation. In our previous class we have seen the string concatenate built-in function, how it was actually combining the two different strings. Now here is a program without using the built-in function. By using the for loop we are going to concatenate the two different strings. Look at the output here. Enter the first string. The first string what we have entered here is love and the second string we have entered is a lace. So when we concatenate we have got here as Lovelace. The same topic we had discussed but with a built-in function. Now this is a program where I am not using the built-in function known as string concatenate. So let us understand the tracing of this program. So here in iostream conio.h string.h I have taken string.h I have taken because I am using some of the built-in function here. String length I am using. iostream because of cout and cin, as well as getLine as well as write function. Conio I am using because of clear screen and getch here. And here I have taken the two different string. This I am considering f of 100 to be as the first string and the s of 100 to be as second string. I am considering it. And I am taken to read the length of the first string I have taken L1. To read the length of the second string I have taken it L2. And I have taken a counter variable known as I here because I am dealing with a for loop here. Therefore I have taken a variable I. Next, I am asking the user to enter the first string. By using the getLine function, I am reading the given input string. Similarly, I am asking the user to enter the second string, and through the getLine function, I am reading the second string. I hope you are able to recall how the usage of the getLine function is. And then herein I'm going to find out the length of the first string. So what is our first string name? That is f, isn't it? Therefore, string length of f. So as per this it is love, L-O-V-E, 4 characters are there. So this size is 4 characters, so that 4 is being placed in a variable known as L1. Similarly, the second string is lace. Again a 4 character here. Then again that value will be stored in L2 as the length of the second string. Now look at this. For I is equal to 0, I should be less than L2, I plus plus. What I have to do is, I need to join the second string at the end of the first string. I need to copy it. So what I am going to do is, I is equal to, I need to iterate all these character by character. This particular string I need to read L-A-C-E, and then I have to see when I read L, I should place at this location. When I read A, I should place at the very next location. Like this I need to adjoin it. So I need to traverse the entire second string here. That is the reason why I have used the for loop. For I is 0, I should be less than the L2. L2 size is what? 4, isn't it? Then I plus plus. Now, as and when you perform if this particular given condition, if it is true, then each one, whatever is there in the s of I, you move it in the f of L1 plus I. So s of I in the sense, this is yes, that is second string. This is f, this is the first string. So let me trace this program so that you can clearly understand. The same one input I have taken, that f is equal to love and s is equal to lace. So when I place it in the memory location, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. So this is how the fourth one we have here null character, okay. So this is how the memory representation would be. Since our array starts from the 0th location, since our string is an array of characters, Array begins with the 0 subscript. That is the reason here it is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Correct? Now, when I find out the length of the first string, that is L1 equal to 4, L2 is equal to 4. Now look at this one for loop. I is equal to 0. 0 should be less than L2. L2 is what? 4. I plus plus. Yes, this condition satisfies. Once this condition satisfies, what value is there in S of I? S of I in the sense what? S of 0. Move it in F of L1 plus I. What is the L1 value, children, here? L1 value is 4. Plus, what is the I value? 0. 4 plus 0. Then, what content? This is a subscript, isn't it? See, when I refer to only this particular I is equal to 0, actually, this I am referring to the position. When I refer to the subscript, then that means I am referring to the value what is there in the given string at that particular position. So, in S of 0, what character is there here? That is L. So that has to move in F of L1 plus I. That means 4 plus 0. Move it in F of 4. Now look at here, children. F of 4 in the sense what? LOVE 0, 1, 2, 3. So since the size of the given strings are both 100 bytes. So we have enough, empty locations in the given string. Therefore, I am moving what is there in S of 0. Move it in the that is F of 4. So, L is getting moved in the F of 4. I hope you are able to understand, because I need to adjoin the two different strings here. I need to combine those. Therefore, what is there in S of 0 is getting moved in F of 4. So, this is how the first iteration. After that, I gets incremented. So, only this particular statement is the true part of this for loop. Okay, as if the condition satisfied, then this part of this statement is executed. Similarly, when I gets incremented, I is equal to 1. Definitely, I is equal to 1 in the sense, in the S of I, here it is starting pointing. It will start point to this particular location. I is equal to 1, 1 is less than 4, yes, the condition is true, and then okay, if this condition is true, then we are executing the true part. Now this time S of I in the sense S of 1. S of 1 has to move in F of L1 plus I. What is L1? It remains the same, that is 4 plus. Now the I value has changed, children, so I will be 1. So what is there in S of 1 should be moved in the position that is F of 5. So, A is getting moved. What is there in S of 1? That's A. A is getting moved in the F of 5th location. So, that's how after L we got the character here as A. Again, I gets incremented. Once I gets incremented, I is equal to 2. 2 is less than or is equal to 4. Yes, the condition is satisfies. If this so, move the value of S of I to F of L1 plus I. That now the current value of I is 2. So what content is there in S of 2 here? The content, if you see, it's a C. Right? So F of L1 plus I in the sense 4 plus 2, because the current value of I is 2. So move the values character C in the F of 6 position. So that's how in the 6th position, right from the S, from S of 2, this is getting moved in this particular location, the character C. I hope you are getting an idea how we are copying the other string, okay, to the first string, the second string to the first string. So let us, once I gets incremented, I is equal to 3. 3 is less than 4, yes, the condition is true. Then whatever is there in S of 3, move it in now F of 7. I hope you are able to understand this part of. So what is there in S of 3 here? S of 3 we had E. So E is getting moved in F of 7. After that, I gets incremented. I is equal to 4. 4 is less than 4. The condition fails. Once the condition fails, then the statement, okay, the control will come out of the for loop and the control will jump to the next statement. So what is there in the next statement here? So F of L1 plus L2. So L1 value was 4 plus L2 value is 4. So we need to place in the position F of 8. So null character we have to move it in the F of 8. When you look at this particular given string, So Lovelace, how many? Till what position we have reached? Till the 7th. So at the end position, that is f of 8th position, at that location we need to store the null character, which indicates that is the end of the string. I hope children you are able to understand the tracing. This is how we are able to copy the one string to the another. We are able to combine one string to the another string. That is the reason why you are able to see here the concatenated string as Lovelace. Let me execute this particular program and show you. Here we have the program, the same program what we have discussed. I hope you are able to see it. Let me compile. Okay. Then let me run the code. We shall give the different input here as computer. As the first string I'm going to enter, and then science I'm going to enter as a second string. When I press enter here, go to the window and watch your output. I'm getting a concatenated string as computer science. I hope you are able to understand. So let us move on to the next program. We have discussed this. Next comes the string copy. So what is a string copy? String copy, it's a kind of built-in function that is used to copy a string into another string. We are able to copy the contents. Now look at here, the general form of the string copy is string strcpy followed by string 1 comma string 2. That means what content is there in the string 2 will be copied into the string 1. So how does the string copy works actually? What contents are there in the second string will be copied into the first string as per this. Even if you exchange, here comes the string 2 and here comes the string 1, then what contents is there in the string 1 will be copied into the string 2. Okay, so always remember what contents are being given in the second part of the general form of string copy. Those contents will be copied into the given string here, first string. Now here is an example, char of type data type. Here I have taken a string 1 is equal to, I am giving a string here known as computer, and my second string I am given it here as science. When I execute this particular statement, what content is there in string 2 will be copied in the string 1. So string 1 will lose its contents and it will get a new content known as science. So therefore string 1 also will consist of the computer, string 2 also consist of the string 1 also will consist of science, string 2 also will consist of the science. Now here actually I should have written the complete string string1, here string2. So here the string name what we have given here, it should be same as that of what you are passing the parameters here. I hope you are able to understand how the string copy works. Let me show how exactly this works. So here is an program wherein I am able to perform the string copy, string concatenate, the built-in function, and then I am able to find the length of the given string. So string 1 here it consists of the string known as hello, string 2 as world, and string 3 I haven't initialized any of the string here. Okay, I've just declared that I'm going to use a string 3 of 10 as the characters, 10 size. Okay, then I've taken a variable known as length of type integer. Now string copy. Okay, so what I'm telling, to copy the contents of string 1 into the string 3, and finally I'm printing the copied string is string 3, because string 3 I haven't initialized here, but string 1 I have initialized it with hello. Whatever the contents are there in string 1 will be copied into the string 3. Next is built-in function string concatenate I am using. How this concatenating is working, concatenate the whatever the contents are there in the string 2 is getting, combined at the end of the string 1. And I'm going to, printing the string 1, and next I'm finding the length of this given string 3, and I'm storing in a variable known as length, which I'm displaying here. Let me execute this particular program here, compile and then run. See, string 1 was hello, and then the string 2 was world. String 3 was I haven't initialized. Now copied string is, I was actually printing the string 3. So now the string 3 also consists of the same as that of string 1, that is hello. Next I was concatenating, right? Concatenating string is hello world. Then I was able to find the length of the string 3rd. So if you count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the length of the string 3 is 5. This is how the built-in functions of some string functions will work. Now let us come back to our program. Here we are going to discuss the next program here, to copy a string into another string without using the library function. Now I have shown you string strcpy, how it works even with the programming example. Now we shall see without using the built-in function how we can copy the contents of one string into the another string. Here I have taken the two strings here as a source and the destination. S actually stands for the source, okay, D actually stands for the destination, and I have taken the two variables L in order to find the length of the given string, and then the counter variable I have taken because I am using the for loop here. I am asking the user to enter the source string. Okay, by using the getLine function I am able to read the contents. Now here I am going to read the contents of this particular given string. That means the length of this particular string I am going to calculate by using the built-in function and store it in a variable known as L. Now we need to copy from source to the destination the contents. We need to copy from one string to the another string we need to copy. That means whatever the source, whatever the user, we have asked the user to enter the string in and have stored it in a string known as S. All those contents have to be copied in the another string known as D. We need to copy the contents of S string to the D string, that is source string to the destination string. So, isn't it I need to iterate the entire string here? Therefore, for I is 0, I should be less than n I plus plus. So, whatever the contents are there in S of I, move it in D of I. So, let me show this one with the tracing so that you all can clearly understand. Look at this. What my source string consists of the string known as state, S-T-A-T. Now when you store it in a computer memory location, this is how I get. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The length will be, that is 5 bytes because each one of, 1 byte. So here it is 4. See, why is it is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3? Because array subscript always begins from 0. But when we calculate the length, we will take it as how many number of characters here? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That is the reason L is equal to 5 I have taken. Understood? Then look at this one. I need to copy what content is there in the source string. I need to copy it in the destination string. So if I have to copy it, isn't it character by character we need to copy? If I have to copy character by character, I need to traverse right from 0th location till the end of this given string, isn't it? That is the reason why I have taken the for loop. For I is equal to 0, okay, then since I is equal to 0, 0 should be less than L. 0 is less than L in the sense 0 is less than 5. Yes, your condition is true. If this condition is true, what is a true statement related to this for us? Move the value of s of I into the d of I. So look at this. What content is there in s of I? That is the yes. S of I in the sense what? S of 0. So move it, what is there in s of 0? Move it in d of 0. Look at this. Here I have taken a destination which is an empty string. What content is there in s of 0? Move it in the d of 0. And then I gets incremented. When I gets incremented, I will start pointing at this particular location. So I is equal to 1. 1 is less than 5. Yes, the condition is true. If so, move the value of s of I in the sense s of 1 to the d of 1. What content is there in s of 1 here? It's t. Move it in the d of 1. Okay, the t will be stored in this particular location, that is d of 1. I gets incremented. When you observe the previous, the new, the destination string are being getting replaced with its contents. Okay. When I is equal to 2, 2 is less than 5. Yes, the condition is true. Since this condition is true, move the value of what is there in s of 2, move it in d of 2. Now look at this. Previous it was yes we have copied, t we have copied. Now since I is pointing to the second location, what content is there in s of 2? That is s of 2, move it in d of 2. So a is being copied into the, that is d of 2. Again I gets incremented. Once the I gets incremented, I is equal to 3, 3 is less than is equal to 5, less than 5. Yes, the condition is true. Then what content is there in s of 3? Move it in the d of 3 and I gets incremented. Similarly, I is equal to 4, 4 is less than 5. So what value is there in the s of 4? Move it in the d of 4. Now after that, once the I gets incremented, I reaches to the location 5. 5 is less than 5. The condition is fails. Once this condition is fails, we are coming out of the for loop and the control jumps to the next statement. What is there in the next statement? D of L. L actually, what is its value? That is 5, right? D of L, that is d of 5. Move the null character at this particular location it is asking for us. So in the fifth location, the null character will be placed. I hope you are able to understand. This is how we are going to copy what content is there in the source. The same contents of this given string will be copied into the destination string. I hope children you are able to understand. Let me execute this particular program and show you. Here is the program, students. The same one what I have discussed just now. So here, after copying, after placing the null character, I am going to print one cout statement. Characters are copied to the destination string. I am just giving one printing statement and then I am displaying the copied string here, okay, with the help of write function. So since the destination we have copied, that is the reason why I have taken D, L, that is destination string, and according to the length of this particular destination string, it has to print me. So compile, 0 errors. Let me run. So enter the source string. So let me enter the source string to be as I'll enter here source string as Charles. Okay. So it is telling characters are copied to the destination string. Let me go to the window and then check the output. See here, the characters are copied to the destination string and the copied string is Charles. This is how you are going to copy the string from one string to the another without using the built-in function. Let us continue. String compare. So how this exactly the string compare will work? String compare is a function that is used to alphabetically compare a string with the another string. Very important and a very interesting one, that is string compare function. See, strcmp is a function which is, case sensitive. It treats the uppercase letters and the lowercase letters differently. Okay. Now let me explain this one with an example here. See, the general form is strcmp string 1 comma string 2. When I pass these arguments, it will compare the contents of the string 1 with the string 2. Now look at this one here. Example, I'm going to initialize the string 1 with these characters, that is THERE, and the second string with THERE, where the T is lowercase. So string compare will compare these two strings. When I pass this as parameters here, it will compare these two strings alphabetically based on their ASCII values. Okay, so ASCII value you can take it in you have in data representation, the ASCII table chart you can see the values there. So right now here, suppose if the string 1 is greater than string 2, like how they compare, what is the ASCII value of capital T? What is the ASCII value of capital this particular T? So alphabetically they will start comparing with each other. Okay, the ASCII value of this capital T is 84 and the ASCII value of this lowercase t is 116. That means 84 minus 116. Understood? Like this, alphabetically its ASCII values will be compared. And ASCII value of this H is 104. Both are lowercase, so it comes equality here. So E, it comes what? Both are equal, that is ASCII value of E lowercase is 101. So both are equal. R, the ASCII value is 102 here, the lowercase r. The ASCII value of E, again it becomes 101. So all these will match, but here 84 minus 116 means it results in negative value. Because this is 84 and this is 116. Suppose if the string 1 is lesser than that of the string 2, isn't it 84 minus 116? If the string 1 is lesser than the string 2, then I am getting a negative value. I hope you are able to understand. If at all, if string 1 is less than the string 2, I am getting a negative value. When I write in this way, what here I am doing, I am comparing the string 2 with the string 1. In that case, first string 2 contents is what? THERE, and then the string 1 is THERE. What is the ASCII value of lowercase t? As I said, it's 116. 116 minus 84. Now we are resulting in positive value. Suppose if string 2, okay, string 2 is greater than string 1, then I am getting a positive value. That is, I am going to write it like, string 1 is greater than string 2. That means now I am taking this one as string 2 here. Suppose what if I have taken this one itself as string 1 and this one if I have taken it as string 2, if I have taken, definitely string 1 would be greater than string 2. In that case, it would result me in the positive value. What if both were in uppercase? Even I had T this in the uppercase, THERE as it is like string 1. Then it would result me in terms of 0 value. I hope you are able to understand. So here actually what happens in string compare, they will compare the both the strings like alphabetically. Alphabetically when they compare, they'll start using the ASCII codes actually. With an ASCII codes they start comparing. Okay. So let me explain this one with an example, but before to that, let us see what is string compare I actually. So this string compare I, it is same as that of the string compare. So this is also used to alphabetically compare a string with the another string. But here what happens? It's not case sensitive. Previously was it's a case sensitive. It would treat the lowercase and uppercase differently, but herein it treats both the uppercase and lowercase as the same. So the general syntax just remains the same. Just we need to change the function name. That's it. So herein if you see, string compare I. Okay. So when it is come to the coming to the string compare I here, whether you pass string 1 comma string 2 or string 2 comma string 1, it will result in 0 value because it treats both the uppercase and the lowercase as same. So it will give you always the 0 value, saying that both the strings are equal. I hope you are able to understand. Now let me explain this one with a programming example so that you can have a clear picture of it. Here is a programming example to show the usage of string compare here. Look at this one, string 1 A, B, C, D. If you clearly observe, all are lowercase. If you are observing here string 2 A, B, C is capital and D lowercase. The difference between these two strings is here the C is lowercase and C here is the uppercase, and here again the string 3 is same as lowercase. All the 4 alphabets A, B, C, D all are lowercase. I have taken the two different variables known as result 1 and result 2 of type integer. Now here first thing what I am comparing, string compare, string 1 comma string 2 I am going to compare. Okay, string 1 comma string 2 I am going to compare. That is A, B, C, D all of lowercase with A, B lowercase, C as uppercase and D as a lowercase. When I compare this, definitely the ASCII value of A, what lowercase A is 97, B is 98, C lowercase is 99. Okay, so like a D lowercase would be 100. But what will be the ASCII value? This remains same for this. So ASCII value here comparatively 97 same. Okay, 98 same. But here the difference makes. Lowercase is 99. Okay. Then the uppercase of this C is 67. The uppercase is 67. Here it is 99. Definitely the string 1 would become greater. Then it should result me in the positive value, isn't it? So because the ASCII value of this lowercase is 99 and the ASCII value of this uppercase C is, as I said, it's a 67. Okay, 99 minus 67. Then I got the difference as 32. Then it is resulting me in the positive value. But what happens when I compare the string 1 comma string 3? That is lowercase ABCD and the lowercase ABCD. Then it should give me the result as 0. Isn't it? Let me execute this one. Let me compile this. I got 0 errors. Let me run the code. See, the result is 32. This is the comparison of string 1 comma string 2. Now this is a comparison of string 1 comma string 3. What if I had compared and written the here the function as string compare, string 2 comma string 1 if I had written, definitely it would result me in the negative value, and a value what we have got would be minus 32. See, this is all about the ASCII values. Okay, you have that ASCII values chart in your data representation chapter. There you can refer to. Clear? Moving on to the next one here, the string compare I function, and let me show you. Yeah, this is a string compare I function what I am using here. So here I have taken THERE and string 3 I have taken as same as that of string 1. So first time when I am comparing, I am using string compare strcmp, which is a case sensitive. But second one what I am using, it is a string compare I strcmpi I am using here. So just changes I have made it. I am comparing here string 1 and string 2 I am comparing, and here I am comparing with string 1 and string 2. Okay, so when I am comparing, as I said, it is the string 1, the capital T. Okay, value is 84 and this is 116, the lowercase t. Let me run this code. See here, the first one I am getting minus 32 because 84 minus 116 I get it in minus 32. That means it clearly shows that string 1 is lesser than the string 2. Second one, you see I am getting the result as 0 because their function what I used is string compare I, which is not at all a case sensitive. It treats both the strings as a same. That's what string compare I, string 1 comma string 2 I am comparing. I hope you are able to make the difference how to use the string compare and string compare I, children. Okay. Now let us move on to our next program, that is to determine whether the given string is palindrome or not. Before we discuss this one program, let us know what exactly the palindrome is. Palindrome is nothing but when you reverse the given string. Suppose for example, if I have taken a string known as wow, that is WOW. When you reverse it, you should get the same string as WOW. Such strings, when you reverse also it remains the same, then such strings we call it as an palindrome. Similarly, for an example, another string we shall take, madam. It's a palindrome because when you reverse it, you're getting the same string. For example, gadak. When you reverse it, you're getting the same one. For example, another string, Malayalam. When you reverse it, you're getting the same thing. The same other example, when I take a string known as science, when you reverse it, I'm not getting the same string, then it's not a palindrome. Therefore, palindrome is one when you reverse a given string, you're getting the same string. Then such string we call it as it's a palindrome. I hope you're able to understand. Let us discuss this program here. Herein, I've taken the two strings, that is yes and R. Okay. Yes, I'm taking in order to when I ask the user to enter a string, and R string I've taken it after reversing. Okay, to check in order to store the reversed string, I've taken this particular R as a string. And next thing is I'm asking the user to enter the string. So through the getLine function, I'm reading the string, and then here I'm copying because what I want those contents, what is there in the string yes, the same thing should be copied into the string R. That is the reason I'm using the built-in function strcpy. So how this one will work? What contents are there in string yes, the same contents are being copied in the string R. I hope you are able to understand. Now after that, I'm going to reverse the string known as R. Whatever the contents are being copied, I want it reverse of it. So I'm using one of the built-in function known as string reverse. Right? And after reversing, I'm going to compare the contents of string yes and the contents of reversed string. If both the contents are matches, that means both the ASCII values of each one alphabets, if it is equal to 0, then I'm going to print it as a palindrome, else I'm going to print it's not a palindrome. I hope you are able to understand. It's a very simple. See here, first I'm asking the user to enter the string, and after I enter the same contents, I want a copy of it. That is the reason I've used the built-in function string, that is string copy. And after I copy the contents in the R string, I need to reverse it. And after I reverse, I'll compare the original string yes with the reversed string. If it is resulting in it's 0, how it is resulting? Because we are comparing here alphabetically, each alphabet in the both the strings we are going to compare. If they are equal to 0, if they are both the strings are same, it should result me it's palindrome, else it should result me as it's not a palindrome. Let me explain this one an example so that you can clearly understand. Here I've taken a string known as refer, R-E-F-E-R. Okay, when I copy, whatever the contents are there in yes, the same contents are being copied into R. So R now holds the contents as R-E-F-E-R, the same as that of the yes string. Then I'm going to reverse it. When you reverse it, see here, R-E-F-E-R. This is how the reverse will be. Okay, like this, I'm going to reverse a given string, that is R. Now when you reverse it, you're getting the same contents here, children. So I'm going to compare if string compare of I. Okay, why I'm using the string compare I, but why I'm not using string compare function? Because string compare I function is used to check whether the word is palindrome. It shouldn't matter the case sensitive there. So like lowercase, uppercase, it shouldn't treat it as differently. It should treat it as same. That is the reason why we are using the string compare I rather than string compare itself. So now these two strings are the same one. Both the strings ASCII value will match with each other. Okay. So you can refer with an ASCII table, both it matches. So once it match found and once it is equal to 0, yes, the condition is true. In that case, I am going to print that it is a palindrome. Now what if the given string, second in example we shall see, S is equal to Pascal when I copy, R also contains Pascal here. When I reverse it, look at here children, when I reverse L, A, C, S, A and P. This is what is the reversed string and that will be stored in a R. Now I am going to compare, if string compare I, that means how the comparison will be made. Yes, R will be compared with the yes. What is the ASCII value of P? What is the ASCII value of L? ASCII value of A matches. Yes and C doesn't match there. Some difference we are getting there. So they are definitely, they will not be equal, isn't it? So therefore, the true part here, the condition doesn't satisfy. So the true part of this condition is actually it's a palindrome. Else it's not a palindrome. Since both the strings are not equal, therefore it's printing that it is not a palindrome. I hope you are able to understand how this palindrome works. Let me execute the program and show you. Here is a palindrome program, the same what I've explained. Let me run the code. Yes. So what shall I give here? As shall I give Gadag? See, when it is reverse, it is the string Gadag is a palindrome. It is printing me. Then let me give another. Let me give here as Pascal as input. See, when you reverse it, the string says it's not a palindrome. I hope students you are able to understand. So in today's video class, we have seen the programs related to string concatenate this, then string copy function we have seen, the with using the library function, without using the library function we have seen. Then string compare I. Then we have even seen the program how to find out the palindrome of a given program. So this completes actually the chapter functions. Thank you students. Take care of yourself.